Hi, Nick. Thank you so much for coming to the Investor Talk. How are you today?
Hi, Max. Thank you very much for the invitation. Good to see you.
My pleasure. Thank you for your time. So let's give an introduction to yourself. So after we move to the talk.
Right. Yeah. My name is Nik Lazanas. I'm 55, have 4 children, and I'm active investor Europe-wide.
Thank you, Nick. Now, let's start. In which sector, stage, and geography do you prefer to invest?
In principle, Max, we can say that we invest in outstanding people, outstanding products, and the products which are having, let me say, they are scalable and have a good potential. Normally, we are investing in not a very specific product or area. It must be having the special attitude, and it must be have some kind of uniqueness. We can go everywhere around the globe. For sure, we are mainly in Europe acting, but actually, for example, I am sitting here in a nice hotel, and we are having a Swiss Africa business circle organized by the Swiss government. And the topic here is to have direct contact with the African development banks, various banks. I will give you a figure. The need for pitches, for money, for startup companies in Africa this year alone is around $78 billion. To give you the same figure, in Germany, for example, the need is around $100 billion. It's compared to a continent is not so much, but if we're speaking today about 78 billion, is most likely within the next few years, this figure will increase, let me say, dramatically, which is good.
Absolutely. I mean, Europe still has so much to do in terms of venture capital investing in startups. But I do believe Africa is the next big thing. So I'm very positive on Africa when it comes to investing. But how much do you normally invest?
Max, for us is very simple to say. We start even with $10,000. It depends on the project, but we can raise up to 15 million. The importance here is to know that we are not investing with other people's money. The 99.9% of our projects is invested with own capital. And you can imagine that when you invest with your own money, it's, I would say, a little different instead of using other people's money.
Absolutely. You invest in early stage, growth stage, I suppose.
I would say we are experts in pre-seed and seed phases. Depends on the project. We try to have the majority, but this is not necessarily. For example, as we done the Napster investment, pre-IPO, we was getting a small percentage of this company, but finally this was a lucky punch.
Be preceded seed is very complicated. Where do you find the concerns when it comes investing? What do you see the most into the company, and what you value the most? The company, the team, the product, the service?
Max, it's I think a very, very simple answer. It's all about people. The people are the most important element where we look at. When somebody is doing his job with passion, then we know that this person will not fall away with the first rain shower. You know what I mean? So for us, the most important is the people. The second one is definitely the product. What is it for a product? Is it the product where is it very easily can be replaced another one? So a disruptive product. This is something that we are interested in.
How often do you like to meet the founders before and after investing?
This is a nice question. I would say, in principle, we can say average 2 to 3 times is important to see the investor. However, because during that discussion, a lot of information we have to go through, especially the figures. Sometimes it's 3 times, 5 times. Average is, I would say, maybe 10 times, and sometimes over 10 times. But honestly, if something is from the beginning not working like this, then it does not make sense to go ahead. So we do not want to waste the time, whether from the pitching people nor from us.
How involved do you get with the founders after investing?
In principle, our idea is when we go and invest into a company, when we see that the current team is working well, we guide them and we supporting them as good as we can. But as we know, never change a winning team. When we see that in the back traction, they had significant results, we supporting them, but we leave the people to work because we know that this is the biggest asset within the company. If it comes to the point that for whatever reason a project is not working well, then for sure we join the team and try to support as good as we can.
Do you co-invest and do you lead the investments?
Yes, we are leading also investments. However, it depends on the product and on the size. Once we invested in Facebook, we were not the lead. Obviously, because we was coming later in a later stage to get the chance to invest in this company, but it was pre-IPO. So we was happy for that. In other projects, we take over the lead. It depends on the projects and the sizes.
Are you going to help the founders where you invested the money for the next round? Let's say when you work so early, pre-seed and seed, are you going to help them for finding other investors coming for the next rounds?
This is a very, very good question. Our group, Artlift Group, is getting every year between 600 and 800 pitch decks on our desk. So you can imagine that we as a group are looking at them, and we realize out of this 800 projects, 1 to maximum 2, obviously the best. We're choosing the best. So we're putting then our resources and money and funds into those 1 or 2 projects. That does not mean necessarily that the rest of the projects are not good. So we can say roughly 1% out of this 800, that means in figures 8 maximum, are projects which are really good, interesting, and due to our big networks that we have, we let's say support all these young guys to getting placed by another VC. So we support also in that case if the project, for example, is too big for us, because it could be it's a project where you need from the beginning $100 million, and then definitely we are getting support from bigger funds.
How do you see the value, the major one you can add to the founders who are investing?
The value is that we using our team, and we have a fantastic team around Artlift Group, and try to support the founders and the startups from that point of perspective. We are organized in a matrix, let me say in a matrix style. That means our CTO is supporting a startup within the automotive industry, but he could also support at the same time also for a tooling setup for a cosmetic industry. So we have around us a very good team where everybody is expert on his know-how, and we learn every day that this is very good, because sometimes there is an existing commonality called commonality, and we use this. So the COO, for example, is also having more projects on the desk instead of one, but only in the case that we need him.
You already somehow answer my next one. Do you, in your mind, in your way to invest, should a startup in your portfolio have some kind of interaction to some extent?
I think yes, because there is a lot of things where, I mean, every day we're learning from each other. So even the companies who are specialized in their product, they could get benefit from people who are in the same area, but in another company. So sometimes when we have a problem which occurs and we need input, we put 3 or 4 startups together, getting all the people together and try to identify and to find a solution on one specific issue.
Can you give to the founders are watching us today your advice when it comes to pivoting? Sometimes pivoting is crucial to success, but many founders are reluctant. They don't want to pivot. They feel pivot is a failure.
Yes, correct. Yeah, we have to be very, very careful in this. As I mentioned in the beginning, when you have a startup which is working very nice, but they need, let me say, to scale their product, they need only funds. This is the best option. But if it comes to the point that they have, for example, a failure or is a lack of information in the area of accounting, for example, then we are giving them some guidance. So we supporting them just to stabilize also this area of their company. So we looking at all of those startups finally.
Why you become an investor?
That's a good question. Why I became an investor is I was working for a very big first-tier supplier, automotive supplier. I was earning a lot of money, and I had a fantastic life. However, inside, I was feeling that this is not what I wanted to be. I was at that time responsible for various M&A deals across Europe, turbo housings and metal castings and all these things. So very, very nice products. But finally, I decided one day that I want to go and to learn more about the investment. This came up in a day where I was earning a lot of money on the one side. All the people was mentioning to me that I'm crazy to give up this job. However, I will tell you, Max, that this decision was the best decision of my life, because from that point on, I was responsible, my own responsibility to be successful. I had the chance to make a so-called shadowing program with one of the biggest VCs in Europe for roughly 9 months. I was working for no money. So I was working only to be there and to support this guy. And this influences me so much that finally I started with Arcliff Ventures.
Which are the critical points that trigger your decision to invest? What you see the most to invest in this startup and not in the other one?
I would say the most critical things is, besides the figures, I do not want to go inside, which ROI we will get or so. It's from my point of view, it's the people, product, and the timing. This needs to be fit. If this is not fit, Max, this will be always a problem.
Yeah, I agree. What can be the perfect recipe for a great pitch that can convince you to invest?
Okay, so this is very nice. I'm getting very often this question. Let's take the word pitch, the letters. So pitch. Pitch is first of all P for problem solver. You have to show how this problem you can solve. The second is I for inspiration. So it must be an inspiring thing. Third one is T for tailor it to the audience from the beginning to the end. C is concise, be quick and to the point. And the fifth one is H for heart, be passionate. Without passion, Max, I think you agree, all of us should be agree, you will be not so successful.
Absolutely. Okay, I will take it. I like this acronym. It's extension or acronym. I like it.
Yes, I always get so many times this question. So I must say, my God, I need to take something which maybe the people could keep it easier for them. Yeah.
Fix it in mind. What's the suggestion to founders when approaching VC? How they should approach a VC?
First of all, be straight to the point, be honest, know your numbers, start with the problem, and connect with the audit. So these are the major points. You need to know your numbers, but it's not only about numbers. At the time you're doing the pitch, you must be honest also to yourself, and honestly speaking to you, also me, I have to correct me also sometimes. Why this? Because with all the passion that we have, sometimes you do not see the correct way. You need to be open. You need to be honest, and also try to get honesty, but be also honest to the whole project. Am I the right person for that? Because sometimes the product is fantastic, but the people not fit. Sometimes it's the other way around. So what happens is we had one project where finally the founder overhand this project from him to the successor, because we found out that he is by far the better presenter than the number one. However, still they're working together and they are very successful.
How important is the IP that belongs to the startup for you to invest in?
I would say intellectual. So IP, you mean intellectual property, correct?
Correct.
Right. So is identify its business goals. This is the first one. Identify any IP that it may have, and formulate a plan to protect that IP and accomplish its business goals. That means for me that it depends on the IP protection, but this is important because sometimes when you have a product which is outstanding and an exception on this world, you need to take care about this. I will give you a sample. We had a startup within the healthcare sector, and we was trying to make our patent. What happens is somebody from Google identify that this is an area of big interest. They put in within days $50 million. And the final solution, or let me say the final outcome of this, was that Apple was starting later than us to produce this product. They started later to catch this process and to catch this product, but they was 1.5 years earlier, right at the time, at the client, at the customer, instead of us. So time is essential, and you need in some instances to protect the intellectual property.
Where do you see the venture capital going? What will be the best and most promising sectors in the coming year to invest money?
I think the healthcare industry is one of the most profitable worldwide. This is, again, also a very, very strong area. Renewable energy will be a big point. Cybersecurity, I would say cloud computing, data science, and last but not least, artificial intelligence. We work strongly with one of our startups in early days for artificial intelligence to identify good opportunities there.
Nick, thank you so much for coming to the Investor Talk. It's been absolutely a pleasure for me. Thank you very much.
It was fantastic. Thank you so much, Max. See you next time and have a great day.